Hi, it's Mark Bossert from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with award-winning Vancouver auto repair, the owner, Mr. Bernie Pawlik of Pawlik Automotive. How you doing, Bernie?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Mark?
I'm good. So we're going to talk about Audis today and how are Audis to work on.
Well, they're good. A little bit about Audi's. Audi's the high-end division of Volkswagen. But interestingly enough, low-end Audis are very similar to the higher-end Volkswagens. They share a lot of the same parts. They look similar. The engines and transmissions are the same. The body style, as I said, the body styles are similar. A couple examples: the Audi A4 and the Volkswagen Passat are very similar vehicles. There's another example would be the Audi Q7 and Volkswagen Touareg Sport Utility vehicles. Those are very similar, built on the same platform. Actually, the Porsche Cayenne is actually the same vehicle as well, only dressed up a little higher and more performance. So this can be a good thing, having sort of a fancy sports car that's similar to another lower end car, because there's a lot of parts available for a lower price. Uh,
So you mentioned that. Aren't Audis expensive to fix?
um, well, they can be. That's a good question, and the answer is yes and no. I mean, generally they are a fairly expensive car to fix, but sometimes they can be quite cheap. Last week we were working on a 2006 Audi A4. It needed an ignition coil. The coil was only $35, which is just outrageously cheap. Four coils in the vehicle. I mean, that the price is, I'm just doing the quick math, $140. In a lot of Japanese cars, you can't buy one coil for that price. You might even pay twice the price for a coil. So, sometimes you get surprised with European cars, like Audis. They can be incredibly inexpensive. Now, on the other end of the scale, last week we also had another Audi A4 that had a transmission control module that was blown. It was $2,200 for that part, plus labor and diagnosis, and it ended up being a really hefty bill. So that's kind of the thing you kind of expect with an Audi, but not all repairs are like that. Um, a lot of German cars can be like that, though. The electronics can be a bit of a problem, and they are expensive.
So what are some of the other issues that you see with Audi?
Well, as I said, ignition coil failures are one of the issues I just alluded to. Many Audis, they also have a complex crankcase breather system, and the parts, things go defective with that, so that requires some repairs. Many models have timing belts, and that they need to be replaced every once in a while. The engines also have oil leaks from time to time. Wheel bearings wear out also.
So Audi had that tarnished bad reputation in the 80s for running on. What was all that about?
Well, yeah. So in the early 1980s, Audi brought in a new series of car, the 5000. They were marketed as marvels of technology and advanced engineering. But they had one issue. Occasionally, some models would suddenly accelerate without warning. Now, interestingly enough, these cars were generally sold to people who were, fairly well-to-do, so they're pretty educated, smart people. And some of them, they have nice houses and things. Some of them ended up in people's swimming pools. They just take off and go flying along the driveway and through their garage and into a swimming pool. That happened on a few occasions. The media picked up a lot of stories about it. Audi basically told people it's nothing wrong with the car. It's your fault. So it took a long time to get things figured out. I did a little research on it, and they figured it was partially due to an idle stabilization motor that would sometimes kick the idle speed up a bit too high, and that may be coupled with people. They figured maybe the pedals weren't quite properly positioned in the car. Anyways, it was a bad PR situation from Audi's point of view, and their sales plummeted through the 80s and 90s, and apparently they didn't actually pick up back until the year 2000. But in the meantime, they've got their act together and built some better cars. And one thing that we owe to that whole incident is the shift lock mechanism that you find in any car with an automatic transmission. It's been around for a good 20 years, anyways, where you have to put your foot firmly on the brake before you can shift out of park. So that's all because of the great engineering kerfuffle of Audi.
So do you have any last thoughts or comments about Audi?
Well, Audi cars generally they're nice cars, but to me they always seemed a bit quirky for a long time, kind of unusual until they brought the A4 out, which happened in around 1996, 97. That became a pretty nice car, fairly normal, not too many problems. And from there, I think Audi became more mainstream. Their sales have gone up, and there's a lot of different models on the road. They're good cars, generally pretty reliable. They got a few problems like any car, maybe a little more than a Japanese car, but generally, very nice car. And you can get some really nice high-end models, really nice cars to drive. So those are my thoughts.
Great. So we've been talking with award-winning, 12 times voted best in Vancouver, award-winning auto repair shop, and the owner of that shop, Mr. Bernie Pawlik Automotive. You can reach them at pawlikautomotive.com, or you can give them a call, 604-327-7112. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good night.
Yeah.